Good afternoon and welcome to another special edition of Orta Know Better. I'm delighted to tell you that we're joined today by ex-Leeds forward, John Pearson. John, how are you doing, mate?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic, Luke. How are you, okay?
Yeah, very well, thank you for asking. Thanks ever so much again for taking time out of your, I imagine, relatively busy schedule or quiet. Are you at the minute?
No, I've been furloughed for about a year now, so I've been back at work on and off, but not full time. But to be fair, I've just got out. This morning I've done a 10K run, so I've just seen it as an opportunity to sort of get rid of the fat that I'd accumulated.
And you're currently working. Is it Wednesday TV or Owls TV? Something that you do the commentary on?
Yeah, I work for the iFollow, it's called.
iFollow.
Do the games home and away, which at the moment isn't great fun. And I also, my 9 to 5 job sort of thing is working for the community program. We do all sorts. I love the work with the community program. We run a club called the Fit Fans. So people who are a little bit overweight, want to get a little bit of fitness back. We've done that for the last 4 years, and I think it's a fantastic project that we do. We've had some unbelievable results, So, and mainly we get people between. Our eldest is 87. He's 87-year-old, and he still runs around the pitch. He's absolutely fantastic, And to be fair, the club about a year ago, when supporters were still allowed in, got him in and made him a VIP for the day, and he had a fantastic birthday. That sort of thing that you do for the supporters and do for the club. That's what I really, really enjoy.
Good stuff. So you're obviously a big Wednesday fan, Sheffield lad, born and raised. How did you get into football then? Was it just something you were good at? 'Cause you're obviously quite a big lad. I think you stood at sort of 6'2" in your prime. Was it just something naturally, or was there family members who got you into it? How did you get into footy?
Right. I was born 200 yards away from the Wednesday ground in Hillsborough.
Right.
Ever since my first thoughts, I can remember my mother saying to me, "Who do you love most, me or Sheffield Wednesday?" And I said, "Sheffield Wednesday." I was only 4-year-old. And,
you didn't get many Christmas presents that year, then?
No. So I in my mind, I was never going to do anything else. I was so passionate, determined. I was never the best player, but when you get to certain ages, you get distractions, and I was never distracted. There was never anything in my mind other than being, well, I suppose a Sheffield Wednesday footballer, really.
Yeah.
Because I lived so close to the ground. My dad was a Wednesday supporter. They came to my school when I was 5-year-old because I was advanced in the reading. It was because I used to read what was called the Green, and it was a Saturday night. I don't know whether in Leeds you had a similar sort of thing, but in Sheffield we had a paper that came out Saturday night which described all the local results: Wednesday United, Rotherham, Donegg, that sort of thing. And I taught myself to read through reading this Green.
Right.
So everything in my life was about football. At nights when I was getting older, I'd stand against the wall and where you do the 90 degrees with your legs, and I do pull-ups on me in my bedroom, and so everything. I never walked anywhere. I ran everywhere. Right. I think that's what took the pace out of me. I could actually run a long distance, but I couldn't run quickly. So I'm blaming that on being when I was young, running to school and back. But no, all I ever wanted to do was play football.
Great. You got to eventually live. Yeah, you got to eventually live that dream then. So you obviously started your professional career out at Wednesday, moved down to Charlton. I think you'd been at Wednesday for 4 or 5 years and went down to Charlton. Then I understand Leeds sold Snowden to Everton, had a bit of money in the bank, and decided to spend it on you, John. How did that go? Because I've read a couple of conflicted stories actually. I know Billy Bremner signed you for Leeds, but did it happen in a service station? Is that right?
I think I met Bill's assistant. I can't remember who it was now. And I met first of all, I met in the service stations. Just must be the one between Sheffield and Leeds, and just had a brief. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So a brief conversation, and Lenny Lawrence came to me at Charlton. He was in around about January, and he said, "We've got a few clubs interested in you." And he listed these clubs, blah blah blah. Leeds United. I went, Leeds United. He went, well, and I went, no, Leeds United. That's if I'm going anywhere, that's where I want to go. And he went, oh, okay then. So obviously I went and had talks, and then the day came, and I didn't have an agent or anything like that. And so I phoned my mate, Mickey Lyons. Oh, bloody hell. I said, I don't know what to ask for. I ain't got a clue. What shall I say to him? He went, well, ask for this and this and blah, blah, blah. So I went in, and Billy Bremner went, well, he said, well, what do you want then? So I went, well, what about this, this and this? And he went, yep, all right then. And he stood up and walked out, and I'm thinking, oh God, I should have asked for more. I'm following down the corridor saying, I forgot. And he was brilliant. I love Billy Bremner. He was fantastic. So, we'd played the year before. Leeds had come down to, this is another thing he said to me. He went, Leeds had played Charlton. I think we beat Leeds 4-1 we were at Selhurst there. We'd moved to Selhurst Park, Crystal Palace's home ground. And we won 4-1. And I happened to score. And at the end of the game, Billy came up to me and he went, he said, well played, Johnny. You had a great game and all that. And I thought, oh, that's a bit strange. Never put two and two together. And then when we sat down to have this chat about, what wages you want and all that, he went, he said, I liked you when you were at Wednesday and all that. I said, all right. Okay. He said, I tried to sign you for Doncaster Rovers when I was at Donny. And I went, yeah, oh, great. And he went, yeah. He says, you got loads of stick off at Wednesday fans, didn't you? And I went, oh, yeah, I did a bit. He went, you get loads of stick here and all. I went, all right. He went, he says, yeah. He says, but you dealt with it great. He says, I liked how you dealt with it. So I went, I'm thinking, is this a compliment or I can't?
Yeah.
I think it was a backhanded one, but it's always stuck. And he, like I say, he was brilliant. And yes, I got stick at every. I'm a big 6'3" flipping centre forward. Or I think better players than me got stick. So it was.
To be honest, you could probably be Ronaldo or Messi and play for Leeds and still get stick, I think.
The fans were great. I mean, the atmosphere in there. The one thing about the Leeds fans was at the start of the game, they were 100% behind that team. And I felt as though they'd only voiced their disapproval maybe in the last 10-15 minutes. If things weren't going right, which all supporters at clubs do, obviously. But at the next game, they were right back behind you. So, they were a great crowd.
Yeah. Do you recall any nicknames while you're at Leeds? Because I've read it again. I've read a couple of bits, and I've come across one here. Now you'll have to either confirm or deny it. But Big Bird, was that your nickname?
Well, I've not heard them yet, but I'm denying them all. Go on, carry on.
Was Big Bird one of them when you were at Leeds? Do you remember that?
That started with Mark Hazelwood at Charlton, because I was quite good friends, and going back to the Ian Snowden. They sold Ian Snowden, didn't they, for $750, something like that. Yeah. And I think I signed, Mark Hazelwood signed, Mickey Adams signed, and Bobby McDonald. I think they signed about 4 players in that January with Snod's sort of transfer fee, which has took me completely away. Yeah, Mark Hazelwood started that when I was at Charlton, and then he flipping comes up to Leeds and carried it on. So.
Big Bird, right? And I think did we pay 72 grand for you? Does that sound about right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not exactly sure, but I think nobody tells what the transfer fee is.
Yeah, so that was in the January 87. You've mentioned about Bremner, and again, just to touch upon what you're telling the fans, I've read a couple of articles that you've been in and stuff, and about saying sort of promoting how great the fans were while you were at Leeds. What was the reasoning for selecting Leeds over? Because I think there was a couple of Scottish clubs interested in you, and Derby as well, I think, the other one.
Yeah. That's what he said. He said Derby. He said there's two Scottish clubs. He said it's not Celtic or Rangers. I went, well, and I just thought I didn't want to go to Scotland. I really didn't. But yeah, I didn't speak to any club, and it was just, and I didn't realise. I thought Leeds and Wednesday would be a similar sort of club, But when I got to Leeds, I'd not realised how massive and big Leeds United was. I mean, in the car park before every game, you'd get people from Sweden and Norway, Denmark. You'd get loads of Irish people over. People came from all over Europe to watch the games, even when we were in the second division.
But yeah, I mean, you stayed at Leeds then from 87 up to around about 91, and in that time, obviously came across some real characters in the club, played with some fantastic players. Looking back at some of the teams we had then, I think you played with the likes of Batty and Speed towards the end, and earlier on.
Speed were there. They were there.
They were already there when you signed with it.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, two of the best young players. I would, if I look back, I've probably played 15, 16 years, and you say, and a lot of questions: who's the best player? Who's the best young player? Yeah. And I think Batty and Speedy must, at least in the top three. Robert Lee. I played with Robert Lee at Charlton. What fantastic players they were. I mean, Batty, I didn't think got the credit nationally. But he was superb, and he went about his job. He knew what his strengths were. I don't think he liked football, but he was a great player.
No, it's quite common knowledge, I think, between Leeds fans. He sort of moved over to, I think he lives somewhere on the coast up near Filey or something nowadays. I could be wrong, but it's somewhere up in North Yorkshire, and he just doesn't have anything to do with the club or anything. I think he did it because he was good at it, and he didn't have to get another job. But yeah, he didn't. From what I understand, he wasn't ever really in love with football like yourself, where you trained so hard because that's what you always wanted to to do. I think he sort of fell into football because he was naturally gifted at what he did on a field.
He was a fantastic player, as was Gary Speed.
Yeah. He also obviously played with some other great players, Strachan, to name one, Simon Grayson, Ormsby, and you had a great partnership with Ian Baird, I understand.
Yeah, I'll give you a story from the first game. My first game was against Blackburn. And I think I'd signed late on in the week, and I don't know if I'd done it. I can't remember. I think I'd done a training session or whatever. And I was off thinking, I don't think I'll be starting tomorrow. But got there and I was starting, but I don't know what had happened. But Billy Bremner's walked me into the change room, and so some of the players were already changed, and he went. Ian Baird had already got changed.
Right.
Went, Bairdy, you're not number 9 today. John's number 9. And I went, so I straight away I went, no, I'm not bothered what number I wear. I'm not. Bairdy, you went, no, John, you're number 9. I think, Christ, just made an enemy already. And,
first day.
So anyway, he sort of took his shirt off and chucked it like at me, and he weren't. Oh yeah, there you go, John. He was he weren't very happy. But we did become good friends. It just took a little while. We used to travel up together every day from, meet on the motorway. There were about 4 of us coming from Sheffield. So
great stuff.
I mean, I love playing with Bairdy. He's probably I know that I think he got his best goal tally of that season, and I don't think in January. So I think we had a decent partnership. It's just that he nicked all the goals. We didn't share them out. I sort of nodded them down. I know they were going in, and he tapped it over the line.
Yeah, we'll give that. So we'll give that. So your biggest moment for Leeds, 1988, on the field as a Wednesday fan, hat-trick against the Blades, the Blunts, whatever you want to call them. Must be a proudest moment in the Leeds jersey, was it?
Well, that and scoring at Bramall Lane as well. I mean, that was a really. I scored at Bramall Lane, came on as sub, and I think I scored the first in. Gordon Strachan scored the second one. You know, when he goes up to the hall and sat there and did the He-Man sort of thing. I think Vinnie Jones had just signed for Sheffield United the week before. So both of those for different reasons. I mean, that the hat trick because it's a hat trick, and then the the goal at Bramall Lane was because I'd actually worked me bollocks off in the summer to try and get back in the team. I mean, my next door neighbour was a marathon runner, and I said to him, look, I said, you need to come and call for me every night. I said, I'm going to be hiding under the settee, and I'll be, you know, I said, well, you come into my house and drag me out because I don't want to go, but I've got to go. And so during the summer, he got me fit before I'd gone by, because I knew I'd not had a great season the season before when Howard Wilkinson first came, and Batty and I forgot who else, Bobby Davison and other people were up front, and I thought I've got a year left on my contract and I need to give this a real go. And to score then, I thought, right, you know, it's got me back in the frame, and scoring at Bramall Lane in Sheffield was very satisfying.
Yeah, I can imagine. So you mentioned about the fitness. Was it a bit of a different? Because I anticipate it was probably more of a drinking culture back then. Was there a lot of the drinking and that went on, or was everybody still bang on the fitness? Was that sort of around about the time of the transition, or was it still very much let's go out and celebrate quite often?
I definitely went out and celebrated after both of those games, but I think what you did, there was a drinking culture, especially at the start of my career, even at Charlton. But I think what players were starting to realise was there's a time and a place. Yeah. You know, so I know that today's players, well, I don't know, because you know they probably go out into private places and they've got more cash to be able to hide themselves away and not sort of get caught. But well, you don't know, do you? We don't know what they do, but definitely then. But I mean, especially under Howard Wilkinson. I mean, I had Howard Wilkinson at Wednesday.
Yeah.
I got fined off him for going out on a Wednesday night when I was injured and drinking. And then when he came up to Leeds, he brought that culture, you know, that non-drinking and stuff like that. The players still went out after a game and stuff like that. I mean, completely different. We did completely different things then. First thing we did when I first became a pro after the game was getting a hot bath. All of us together in a hot bath. I mean, now it's cold, it's ice baths and everything. Yeah. And then the before we all left, we'd had about 6 pints, and that was before we went out Saturday night. So you know, completely the wrong thing to do. So we didn't know back then. We just did what we did.
That's right. So how would Wilkinson find happy? Was he? Did he have any crazy things that you find people for, or was it simply because not following rules or regs and expectations really?
Well, the one at Wednesday was more. I was injured, and I saw one of the directors. I went to the local pub round the corner from where I live, and this director came and he said, "Oh, are you going to Crystal Palace or wherever on Saturday?" I said, "Well, I don't know." I said, "I hope I am." I said, "Well, I want to go if I can. I've got a pot on or something." He went, "Don't worry, I'll sort you out." So he then goes and sees Howard, tells Howard, and he's going, "Where did you see him?" He went, "I saw him in Park Hotel." He said, "Oh, right, okay." And so I did go, and then he gave a big team talk before the game, and he's gone out on a Wednesday night, he's injured, and do you know that alcohol stops you recovering, and blah, blah, blah. And so he gave me this big bollocking in front of all the players. And then when they've all gone out, he's gone, "Don't worry," he says, if we win today, you'll still get win bonus.
So he looked after you in that way. What was the difference between Billy and Howard as managers then? Because obviously two completely different people. Billy's been there and won everything as a player. Howard very much sort of, well, he had his nickname was Sergeant Wilko, wasn't it? So we know how much of a disciplinarian he was. Was it that obvious, or was there some more subtle differences between the two that maybe average Joe as a Leeds fan probably wouldn't have ever got to see?
I think everything was structured under Howard Wilkinson.
Mm-hmm.
So the fitness, the diet, the drinking culture, like you just said, the set pieces, everything.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing was left to chance. And I don't actually mind that as a professional footballer. The only thing I was interested in was winning football games.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and Howard Wilkinson, and I've been with him at Wednesday, taught me how to win football games at that particular time. If we'd never get outrun, we were the fittest team. We had the best set pieces. We had we were organised. Now a lot of players don't like that. They want a bit of freedom. I can't imagine Barcelona, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich being that structured. It's a little bit more off the cuff, which I would say it was under Billy. It was more off the cuff stuff. And your players like John Sheridan, your sort of ball players like that probably prefer that sort of freedom. Everybody thought that when Howard signed Gary McAllister, that wouldn't be a match made in heaven, but it was. Gary McAllister thrived under Howard, as did Gordon Strachan. Gordon Strachan here, and Howard Wilkinson, long ball. Well, he did make subtle changes at Leeds United that suited Gordon Strachan. He was a fantastic captain, and Gary McAllister, two fantastic players who a lot of people would have said, they're not Wilkinson type players.
Yeah. Would you say that? Would you say it would be fair then to say Wilkinson's, if he was a modern day coach, would be similar to Bielsa in terms of structure and not leaving anything to chance, or completely different?
Well, I mean, obviously, I don't know Bielsa, and I've seen the games and all that.
Yeah.
And it seems as though it's all or nothing at the moment. You either win 3-4-0 or lose 3 or 4-0. But he looks as though he's everything's organised and different, maybe a different style of play, but it looks as though he's got a lot of attention to detail.
Absolutely, I'd agree. Yeah, I don't know if you've. Yeah, we are pretty much great description. We're all or nothing. Somebody put a tweet out earlier. I had a bit of an argument on there. They put something like, "We've lost the third amount of games in the league," and I was like, "Yeah, but we've also won more than 9 teams below us." Would you rather sit and be a Burnley type team and nick a draw in the Premier League, or would you rather be Leeds and play expansive football and be on the edge of your seat for 90 minutes every week? And I was like, give me the 90 minutes on the edge of my seat every week, regardless if we lose 3-0 or win 5-0, But yeah, it's a nice position to be in as a Leeds fan at the moment, I suppose. Mid-table in the Premier League, which probably brings me on to the next couple of things I just wanted to talk about briefly. So when you left Leeds in 91 and were replaced by, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Rod Wallace and Eric Cantona? Does that sound about right?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what I tell everybody. I said, why did you leave Leeds? I went, I said, you got this bloke from France, Eric Cantona. Said, that's who replaced me. Obviously, it wasn't, but it's a nice thing to tell everybody.
It was pretty much like for like. I heard, John, to be honest with you.
Oh, big time. I mean, they were all in mourning in Leeds. Everybody was gutted when I left, but fortunately, Eric replaced me, and he did all right.
Yeah, he weren't a bad player, was he? To be fair. So what I like to do, John, before I let everyone go, is a quick fire 5 questions, and you just got to give me the answer. That first thing that comes into your head.
Go on.
Happy with that? Happy with that?
I'm not happy with it, but I'll give it a go.
Who's the best player you've ever played with?
Gordon Strachan.
Who's the best player you've ever played against?
I'm going to say Tony Adams.
Tony Adams. And who's your best mate in football?
A Bradford player, Gavin Oliver.
And Who is your all-time football hero?
Ooh. It's going to be a Wednesday play. But, I'm thinking when I watched Wednesday, they weren't in the first division.
Right.
They were down. Right. Willie Henderson. I'll say Willie Henderson.
Willie Henderson. And then the last one, who do you prefer to watch, Leeds or Wednesday?
At the moment, Leeds.
Great stuff. Yeah, thanks for that. Really, really honest. I think I can't believe I did a mock team of all the best players that I've played for Leeds since I can remember, and the amount of people that shot me down for not having Strachan in there is unbelievable, and you've just sort of cemented that. I had him on the bench, to be honest, but I was probably maybe at that age where I didn't appreciate how good he probably was. If I was probably a couple of years older, I'd have probably thought, yeah, do you know what? And I think it'd have been a shoe into that team then.
Not just for his footballing ability, but for how he galvanised the club. And you know, the best teams have always got a good team spirit, and the dressing room is always good. And Gordon, Strachan, and Gary McAllister made that dressing room. They enhanced it when they came. They made it better. You know, made it more professional, but also combining it. He organised Gordon for us all to go and see Rod Stewart somewhere. So we all got on a bus. We went down, saw Rod Stewart. We had a bit of a party with him afterwards and all that. And you know, and he was introducing us to Rod and all that. But the sort of things like that he's planned and sort of right. Everybody's going. You know, there's no excuses. Because a lot of times you might have 4 or 5 players going one way and 4 or 5 players going another, and you get little clicks, and then when things aren't going, people don't pull together. But you know, Gordon was a fantastic captain. It's not just about on the pitch, you know. It's about how people get on away from the actual football as well.
Yeah, great stuff. And then just one last thing from me, John, before you go. What's your biggest memory of football? What's the one thing that'll never leave you as a footballer?
I think probably my very first debut when I was 17 and 2 weeks, and there were no mobile phones or anything. It came completely out of the blue. I scored, and my dad was on a holiday. He was doing Mallorca or somewhere, and there was no mobile phones, and he didn't know until the Sunday, and he's gone to get a paper, gone to get News at World, Mirror, whatever he's got. He's looked on back and gone, oh, what's happened here? What's happened here? Oh, he had an heart attack, like he's seen I've scored and flipping with 1-2-1. But fortunately, I played the next week and scored the winner against QPR. So I don't know where it all went wrong. Scored in my first 4 games.
I don't know where it all went wrong. Listen, John, thank you ever so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. If anybody does want to get in touch with John or got any questions, you can find him on Twitter at PearsonJohn10. I know you're quite active on there from time to time and quite interactive with a lot of the fans and stuff as well. So I'm sure John will be happy to answer any questions if he gets them through Twitter. So yeah, everybody, thanks ever so much, John. Anything you'd like to say before we let you? Anything you'd like to say before we just let you shoot off?
Thanks for talking to you. I appreciate it. I didn't expect it, but enjoyed it. It's a fantastic club. I love my time there. I just wish I'd have been a better player.
Perfect. I don't think anybody would ever doubt your commitment to the cause and your time here, John. So thanks ever so much. Take care.
Thank you.
Cheers, mate. Bye-bye. Thanks, John.
Okay.
This special episode of Orta Know Better was brought to you by OKB regular Luke. Very special thanks to John Pearson for his time and honesty, and additional thanks to Emily Render for her artwork and Jen Jamin Sachs for her music.